This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts Luke Sylvia and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic. What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. It is January 31st, 2021. Jonathan Osborne here. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Luke Sylvia. We know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. Who are you pulling for?
I'm pulling for the Bengals. I'm rooting for Joe Burrow, to be completely honest. Played against him, obviously as a Gator fan. Played against him, in college.
You didn't play against Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I suited up and I actually put on the helmet, and Joe Burrow and I went toe to toe. You don't remember? I was in Death Valley and I was going toe to
people
toe.
Are like, oh, you shouldn't say we when you talk about sports teams, but like saying like I played against him, like.
Did I say I or we?
Well, you said played against him. You didn't
fine.
really say we. You just like played against him at LSU.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a little misleading, I think. Well,
Okay.
not misleading because I don't think anybody actually thinks that you played for UF. No offense, but
I could have been a kicker maybe. Who knows? No,
that
so
Rodrigo Blankenship thing going on.
Wow. Wow.
Just the glasses,
Okay.
nothing else.
All right.
I don't
And
even
you
know what
compare
that
me
dude. I don't know what that dude looks like. Outside
You go
of
one
this
step further
right
and
here.
you compare me to a Georgia Bulldog. Unbelievable. Yeah. So he's goofy looking. So thank you.
Well, it's just this right here. That's all I know that he looks like.
So anyway, so I'm a big college football fan. I'm way bigger college football fan than I am NFL fan. So I'm rooting for Joe Burrow to become, the third quarterback to win the college championship as well as the Super Bowl. He'd be joining the two Joes, So
It'd be the only number one pick, the number one overall quarterback pick to win a Super Bowl in one of his first two seasons.
Yeah, I mean he's for real, and I just feel bad for him in the Super Bowl having to go against that front from the Rams when he's got that O-line he's got. But hey, he got sacked in so many times against the Titans, and they still pulled it out. So we'll see. I hope that he's able to stay injury free in the Super Bowl, and more so, I hope he's able to win. I'm pulling for him too. So we'll see. What about you? Who are you pulling for?
So I'm 51-49 pulling for the Bengals. I would love to see Joe Burrow, win. The fact that they had the number one pick 2 seasons ago, and then he actually tore his ACL midway through the season last year, comes back and now is leading them to the Super Bowl. If they win, that's just an incredible story.
Was it worst record 2 years ago? They had 4 wins last year.
Yeah.
And now they are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's crazy. Shout out Dan Savage, by the way.
Yep. Dan Savage, which, I don't know why I never asked him. I know he grew up in New Jersey. I've never asked him why he's not if you grew up in the northern half of New Jersey, usually you're a Giants fan. If you grew up in the southern half of New Jersey, usually you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. So never really asked Dan.
If the Bengals... We had such a great time with him last time on the show, Jonathan.
We have to have him back if the Bengals... we need to bring Dan back anyways, but especially...
Well, that's what I'm saying. We haven't talked about this, but I'm thinking if the Bengals can win the Super Bowl especially, we have him on. Even if they lose, we obviously would love to have him on, but maybe give him some time. Yeah, we give him some time. But if they win, we want to see if Dan will come on the show shortly after talk Magic basketball. He'll be feeling good about his NFL team. You guys can talk Boy Meets World again if you want. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, well, part of the reason I'm pulling for the Bengals because I love Dan and would love to see him, his team, win a Super Bowl. I feel like everyone should get to experience that at least once in their lives. But yeah, no, I wouldn't be mad at the Bengals, but I also wouldn't be mad at the Rams. I like Sean McVay. Right. I really like Matthew Stafford. I've been a fan of his for a long time.
Yeah,
I like
he's a Bulldog,
Aaron Donald. Well, there is that. I don't have really many college football allegiances outside of the North Carolina Tar Heels, and they're usually horrible. So I don't get too upset or excited about their football team. But no, I just want a good game. the Super Bowls usually are always just kind of weird. They don't feel like a normal football game. But, I'm really just hoping for a good game. But I swore, dude, Bengals were down, what was it, like 21-3 or something like that to the Chiefs today. And I was like, this game is over.
You said, too, you said Chiefs Super Bowl. And then you're like, gross.
Yeah, I was not happy about it. And like the rest of America, it's because of his girlfriend and his brother. It has nothing to do with Pat Mahomes. I love Pat Mahomes. I just can't stand the two of them. And that is the weirdest thing. We're rooting against the team because of two people that have nothing to do with the team. But it's just like this thing that we've all kind of rallied behind, that we just find them annoying.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go into work tomorrow, today, as you guys are listening to this. And two of my coworkers that I work closely with are big Chiefs fans. So that'll be fun to hear them, complain about their team. So shout out them. But yeah, so I'm happy. I'm happy that Joe Burrow was able to do that. Did you see his post game? What he said about the diamonds that he was wearing?
Oh, he's like, yeah, I make too much money.
I make too much money for these to be fake. Yeah. And I was like, hey, talk your talk, I guess.
Joe's got swag, man. Like,
he does.
That is such an overused term, but if anyone has it, especially white boy, Joe. Joe is the swaggiest white boy.
The best moment, my favorite moment, is after they win the championship at LSU, and they have him smoking the cigar.
Yep.
In his uniform. I mean, nothing better. That was such a good picture.
I just love the fact that he is like, and you can say this about a ton of athletes. When you're a cajillionaire, it's really easy to be very confident, in who you are. But he's just very unapologetically himself. Like he's talking about, the game against the Titans and what's the rookie kicker's name, McPherson. He's talking about him stretching on the sideline, takes one practice kick, like, I guess we're going to the AFC Championship, goes out there and freaking knocks it in. Yeah. And, the commentators today, I think it was Romo and Jim Nantz during that game, they're talking about him being a rookie. And my dad, who's kind of a very casual NFL fan, is watching the game with me, and he goes, oh, this is a rookie. He's lining up to make the game-winning kick in overtime. He's like, oh, he's a rookie. He might miss it. I'm like, Dad, this guy's got iron balls. Like, there is no way he is missing this kick. And
go Gators.
Your rookie season, he's a Gator.
He's a Gator.
Oh, okay, even better.
He's a Gator. He's one of the most accurate kickers in Gator history.
Better. What was the other one? Eddie Pinheiro.
Eddie Pinheiro. Yeah. He's been bouncing around, but
one of my stepbrothers is a big Bears fan, and he has an Eddie Pinheiro jersey because he's a Gators fan and a Bears fan. It's like one of his favorite jerseys that he owns. But yeah, just a crazy game between the Chiefs and the Bengals. I'm really happy the Bengals pulled it out. And then Jimmy Garoppolo at the end of the NFC Championship game. What the hell was that? You knew it was coming.
Oh, you knew it. My buddy Brandon texted and was like, he's throwing an INT here. We know that, right? 100%. And I was like, oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
And what does he do? Throw the most ridiculous INT I could have imagined.
Yeah. Well, Garrett, who Luke was actually just on the Orlando Magic UK podcast this past weekend. Garrett tweeted at me in the middle of the Magic game. He's like, I'm really looking forward to Jonathan's NFC Championship reaction on the pod, but we were watching the Magic game while that was going on, so we didn't have the live reaction like we did to the Bills and the Chiefs game last week. And he's like, anyone but LA. Like the Lakers I hate, but like all the other LA teams they don't really bother me. Like the Rams have been in LA for like 3 years. It's not really a big deal. And I like Matthew Stafford, so I'm just hoping for a good game. This is one of those rare Super Bowls you get like maybe every 4 or 5 years that you don't really care who wins. You just want a good game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Luke, let's go ahead. A couple of housekeeping items before we break down the weekly state of the Orlando Magic. Every single week, we go ahead and shout out our patrons. So on our Patreon, patreon.com/the6man show, you've got 3 separate tiers there, a lot of great benefits. And we shout out our patrons every week who help financially support the show. Shout out Court Cousins, Drew Gooden, Armin, Keith Garcia, Zico, Carson Tulo, Nathan Lynn, Ellis, Jonathan Borges, Norm L, Magic Player History, good grief, Julio, and Bailey. Very, very thankful to you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Luke, last week we had our first episode where we started accepting voicemails. If you guys haven't listened to that episode, go ahead and check it out. We got a lot of great feedback from that. People seem to love that, which is great, but we need you guys to continue to calling into the show for us to do that. We have one this week that I think we're really going to enjoy. But if you guys ever have any thoughts, throughout the week, it could be random, it could be about the Orlando Magic. If you go to Chick-fil-A and you're like, yo, these new spicy chicken strips are fire, I need to let Jonathan and Luke know, hit us up, 407-603-1189. I'm going to say that again. Save that in your phone, 407-603-1189. Be sure to hit us up. We're going to go through our weekly state of the Magic. So since last week's Monday episode, the Magic went 1-2 on the week with a loss Wednesday at home to the Los Angeles Clippers, 111-102. If you guys want to hear our recap on that, we released that episode last Thursday. And then, Luke, we are now riding a 2-game win streak. A win Friday night, a big win over the Detroit Pistons, 119-103. And then tonight, a big win over the Dallas Mavericks at home, 110-108. The Magic are now 11-40 on the season. They are still in last place in the Eastern Conference, and they have the worst record in the NBA. So far on the season, Luke, the Magic are 29th in the offensive rating, 105.3 points scored per 100 possessions. And Luke, the Magic are starting to climb up the chart in terms of the league here. I've going back to all games. And it's 28th, for offensive rating. And the Magic are now as high as 22nd in the league in defensive rating, Luke. Now they're 28th in net rating. We were sitting at 29 or 30 for most of the season. Now we are up to 28th in the league.
Don't call it a comeback, baby.
Hey, the team is on its way. I mean, we've ranted and raved about Jalen Suggs. But over the last 8 games since Jalen Suggs has been back, Luke, the Magic are 6th in defensive rating. And, there's always, qualifiers there. 8 games, pretty small sample size. But, I mean, the eye test alone tells you that the Magic are playing better defensively. So, Luke, Detroit, that's where we're going to start. We talked on our Thursday episode after, the Magic coughed up the game on Wednesday to the Clippers, which, by the way, if the Magic don't completely choke that game away, we're looking at a 4-game win streak right now. I think you mentioned that before we started to record. But we talked Thursday about how, at least in my opinion, this was a really big game for the Magic. They just had that big win over the Chicago Bulls, starting to build on that confidence. All of a sudden, it looks like, wow, lately the games have been pretty close. We have this big win over the Bulls. We're in the middle of this big homestand, and then you lose that game to the Clippers, and it's like, man, here we're playing one of the worst teams in the league, and if this team is really improving the way that we hope and the way that we want them to, Friday was a golden opportunity, Luke, for the Magic to come out against the Pistons, just really, punch them in the mouth and have a great game. And the Magic did exactly that, Luke. You're up 20 after the first quarter. You're all over the Pistons. And this game was just really never in danger, Luke. The Magic, led almost this entire game, if I'm not mistaken. And, yeah, anytime the Pistons started to get close, the Magic would just kind of push out that lead a little bit more. I was looking for a 10-plus point win over the Detroit Pistons, Luke. And we got that. And the Magic, also shoot the crap out of the ball, 49% from the floor, 48% from the three-point line.
Yeah.
You lose the turnover battle, 17-10 for the Pistons, but the Magic offense was really just too much for the Pistons in this one.
Yeah, we don't get to say that too much.
It is rare.
You look at the game and total here, and big thing for anybody that bets the Magic, which I don't recommend. They cover the spread.
Degenerates.
-3.5 against the Pistons. Second game in a row that they're favored. Couldn't get it done against the Clippers, which really kind of pissed me off. And then you go and you cover the spread and you win by 16 against Detroit. Jonathan, I don't know if you want to talk about this after we kind of dissect the game a little bit more, but the people who were saying that, you know, it's the tank off, you need to lose this game, it's important, when we get to the end of the year you're gonna be, you know, wishing that we would have lost this game or whatever.
Well, let's give just a little bit more context real quick. I tweeted Friday, like morning, early afternoon, that I felt for a team that was, you know, 9-40 at the time, I said this is as much of a must-win game as there can be for a team at this point.
They did not like that.
No, they didn't. I stand by it.
Yeah, I mean, it is. People act like because the Magic have been bad for, you know, so long, or mediocre if you're talking about the, you know, a couple of the seasons here a few years ago, they forgot that wins mean something. Like, they forgot that wins play such a huge part of a team's morale, not just for that week. Like, a win can carry you for a little while before you spontaneously combust because of how long it's been since you've won a game. You know, I mean, you lose 7, 8, 9 games in a row, and you don't even, the players don't even remember how many they lost in a row at that point. It is so imperative for them to win these type of games. I'm gonna make people mad when I'm sure by saying this. I don't really care what the Magic do the rest of the season as long as they win. Like, people aren't gonna like that. But at the same time, man, when J.I. and Markelle are back, who knows when, and this team can actually put something together and continue to capitalize on this momentum that they've made, I'm going to be pulling for this team to win every night. I am done with the lottery, man. Like, whatever. I don't think that this team is as bad as the record shows, solely because of this team hasn't been able to get fully healthy. I don't think they're, like, deserving of the first pick per se. Like, I think that this team with the fully healthy roster is not like a full bottom feeder. So I hope that they can just continue to win. And I know people are going to be like, oh, how could you say that? Don't you want the best possible chance? I don't care. Last year burnt me so bad. I don't care about the lottery odds, to be completely honest. And I hope this team continues to win.
So I'll play devil's advocate a little bit for the both of us, really. So, like, and I prefaced that tweet with, I know there are going to be people that are going to disagree with me, and that's totally fine. I accepted that going into pressing the send button. There's a lot of times I'm sitting there looking at my phone like, do I really want to start this right now? And I got to be honest, Luke, there's a lot of times I type something up, and just typing it up is enough for me. I'm like, okay, I don't need to have this conversation with people. I'm going to go ahead and delete
Writing a letter and burning it.
Yeah,
same
exactly. Thing. Same exact thing. So, but I knew what was coming when I tweeted that, and people make a good point. I will concede that the team to this point has committed to tanking. We've seen it throughout the year with, you know, guys obviously not playing when it sounds like they're ready to play or healthy enough to play, and questionable decisions in the second half with lineups, you know, with Jamal Mosley. So it seems like at least the organization, it's never the players, it's the organization. The organization has committed to tank. And if you're going to do that, you've already done it for 50 games. Rip the Band-Aid off. You got 32 games left. Just get it done. Get it over with. Get the highest possible odds that you can get. Because I was saying, you know, you end up with top 3 odds. Everybody has the same chance at the number 1 pick. But they're like, yeah, if you end up first, the lowest that you can fall is like, I think it's like 5 or 6. I don't even remember at this point. So they do make a good point.
6,
now, the last kind of piece to that puzzle for me, and the last argument that I'll make, is a team that just beat the Bulls decidedly on Sunday night. Now, they didn't have Zach LaVine. They don't have Lonzo Ball. They don't have Alex Caruso. They don't have a lot of these guys right now. They still got DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic. Those are 2 All-Stars. Still got
and beat them by 19.
And smacked them. Like, destroyed them. Like, 100%. Right. And if DeMar doesn't play out of his mind, highest scoring total on the year up to that point for DeMar, then it's 30 instead of 19. Like, that's just the facts. So you win that game, then you have the game against the Clippers. You're up in the second half, and you totally choke it away. And now you've got the lowly Detroit Pistons coming into town. Yes, I'm right there with you guys. If I could have Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith Jr., Paolo Banchero, I'm taking any of those guys 100% of the time right now. I'm not going to cry about it, right?
Right.
However, neither of those guys are LeBron James.
No.
I don't think any of those guys, they might be very good players. I don't see them being like a Luka Doncic. I don't see these as like generational talents. Are they very, very good? I would believe each of those three guys are probably going to become all-stars, if not super close to it in the league at some point. But are they LeBron James? Are they going to come in and save your franchise from day one? No. That being the case, you do not want this team to be as bad as you think. Because if this is a team that is not going to respond and capable of beating the Detroit Pistons and responding the way that they did and the way that I thought they would, because I know this is a good team. I know they're not as bad as what the record shows. You don't want this team to be so bad that they do end up with the worst record in the league, especially if J.I. and Markelle come back. Because at that point, I'm sorry, but Chet, Paolo, Jabari, they are not saving the franchise at that point. So if this team, I still believe if this team just lets things ride from now until the end of the season, you are still most likely going to end up with a top 3 pick. Yes, you might fall to 6, you might fall to 7, but hopefully this is the year that the lottery gods repay the bad luck that we've had in recent years. And we saw it last year. You have top 3 odds, you end up 5th. Maybe this year you have 5th or 6th odds and you end up number 1 or 2. Who knows? It happens.
Nobody
like you
knows.
said, it's totally random. We got hosed last year. Yeah. You know, we were at freaking Harry Buffalo. Everyone is expecting to end up with a top 3 pick. You end up with 5, and luckily we still got a guy that we were really happy with, and Franz freaking Wagner. Thank the good Lord. but yeah, for those reasons, as they say on Shark Tank, I'm out. Like I'm out on the tanking mentality. I'm not going to root for losses. And we said this at the beginning of the year, Luke. Don't be excited about beating the Knicks in Madison Square Garden third game of the year and then get pissed off we won the 50th game against the Pistons.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
Right, because the goal's been the same.
This loss would have counted as 2. Well, like whatever, man. Like
I don't care. To be completely honest, I don't care. And I hope, honestly, I'm going to say this, and again, people are going to be a little irritated at me. I hope the Magic don't have tied for the best odds this year in the draft, just so when they leapfrog into the top 3, I can say exactly.
You just said that, now we're getting the 8th pick for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's the other thing. All right. The other thing here is that it's not like this front office can't draft. It'd be complete. This would be probably completely different from my point of view if we hadn't just gotten Franz Wagner with the 8th pick in this draft that everybody just toasted us for, at least from fans that didn't know anything about him.
Everyone toasted the Magic for because we were like, what the heck?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. If the Magic didn't have a proven track record of it since they've been in for the Magic and typically making a good pick with their picks, if any front office is gonna find a diamond in the rough with like a 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th pick, it's gonna be them. And because of that, I'm never going to, probably never again, when they draft somebody that I think is a reach or whatever, I might be like, I don't understand it, but I trust what they're doing.
Yeah, it's just because we're gonna wait and see. That's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna boo or moan or groan. We're gonna wait and see.
Yeah, so my stance would maybe be different if I didn't trust the front office to draft at a spot that was worse than 3, but I trust the front office to draft wherever, so I don't care. Also, the lottery odds. I mean, you're just kind of you're literally just playing with a bunch of ping pong balls and hoping that the ones bounce your way. It's a lot of times they don't. So,
what I'm about to say, Luke, is going to exclude injury information. Over the last 10 months, if nothing else, from a transactional aspect, this front office has earned your trust. Yeah. Trades, drafting, the last 10 months, just shut your mouth.
And if they haven't, then you probably just watch the standings. If you're a Magic fan and you're complaining about this front office,
it's a bit.
Yeah,
it's Franz Wagner. You traded Nikola Vucevic basically for 3 first-round picks. Wendell Carter, stud. Franz Wagner, greatest player to ever live. And then we still have another first-round pick next year.
Right.
I mean, Gary Harris, as the last month and a half, is better than any month and a half I think we ever saw out of Aaron Gordon, offensively. Like, right. I'm just gonna say it. You get Gary Harris and Franz Wagner, both, like, this season, better than almost everything we saw to Aaron Gordon. So just trust. I used to tweet all the time, like, I feel so stupid. It's so silly to look back. Hashtag in Henny we trust, which hindsight is 2020. It was bad tweets. But in Weltham we trust. That you can take that to the bank. Okay? Last thing I want to say about this Pistons Magic game, Suggs and Wagner both look better than Cade Cunningham. Not saying, they're better, but he was garbage in this game. I like Cade. I think he's a really good player. Was just literally buns in this game. It was honestly pretty crazy.
And then tonight against the Cavs, he drops 19, 10, and 10 and closes the game out for him to win by 10. So,
and I think he had 0 going into halftime.
Yeah.
What we talked about heading up to the draft last year of him just like looking completely trash in the first half of games, and now he has carried that into the NBA. He's just like, all right, the second half started. All right, it's time to play.
Yeah. But a lot of people were wondering about Cade in terms of his closing. They're like, he just doesn't seem like he's got that get up in the second half of games. That was a critique that people had, and he was a closer tonight against Cleveland. But yes,
I don't know. I feel like if
Jalen daddied him.
I feel like if you watched enough at Oklahoma, he definitely had the ability to be a closer. It was just like, why don't you do this all the time and you won't even have to worry about closing? Like the game will be out of hand. Roses are red, violets are blue. Don't let a wild pube wreck you. Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and our sponsors at Manscaped are here for you with the best tools to get your balls ready for the special occasion. This V-Day, it's time to join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code SIXTH, SIXTH, for 20% off and free shipping.
And I'd like to propose making February 13th a national holiday as National Shave Your Junk Day. Who's with me? I think this is one holiday that men and women can get behind. And don't forget to smell good, not only around your balls, but all over. Made with their signature scent, the Manscaped Refined Cologne will complement your collection with smell perfection. Manscaped created their products for a night just like this and will make your V-Day date say, wow, great set of balls you have there. Your balls and lady will thank you.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SIXTH at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code SIXTH, SIXTH. Join Cupid and shoot your arrow with Manscaped this Valentine's Day. Anyways, let's talk about tonight against Dallas at home, Luke, the final game of this 5-game homestand. The Magic got beat up by the Mavericks a couple of weeks ago, 108-92 in Dallas. Luka Doncic, Moritz Wagner had their little dust-up, so it was interesting. They had a couple of moments tonight kind of back and forth, but nothing really crazy, Luke. But huge second quarter out of the Magic, drop a 41-piece on the Dallas Mavericks. Just awesome offense tonight out of the Orlando Magic. Again, they win 110-108. The ball, like, really, really moving so nicely tonight. There is really a couple of different like possessions tonight where the ball is just moving all over the place. You get a wide open basket for somebody. It's like we saw that a couple of times out of like the Steve Clifford Magic. Going back to like Terrence, Aaron Gordon, Evan, Vooch, DJ all being on the floor together. Sometimes the ball would just whip around. And we've been waiting since basically his opening press conference when Coach Mo said we're going to play with pace, space, and the pass. And that's exactly what we saw tonight, and it was a lot of fun. Chuma Okeke, who we didn't realize before tonight is tied for 20th in the league in steals per game. 3 steals tonight, 2 on Luka Doncic, which were huge, but 19 points, 7 of 10 from Chuma Okeke. Luke isn't ready to apologize to Chuma. He hasn't really, to be fair, hasn't like publicly trashed Chuma, but like group chats have been low-key disrespectful to Chuma. He's not ready to apologize, and we're going to let him kind of work through that process. But Franz Wagner tonight, 18 points, 9 of 15. Not his most efficient night, but that bucket that he had in the last minute, I think he was driving on Dorian Finney-Smith and took a pretty hard foul and still scored. They didn't call the foul. I think that tied the game up for the Magic or gave the Magic the lead. I just love Franz Wagner. Like, he had a move, like a Euro step and dunk on somebody and then turn towards the Magic bench and just like screamed this like just visceral, carnal grunt, which I just love those moments out of Franz. For someone who seems so like amiable and almost kind of, I guess you would say, shy, the fire that you can see burning in him at times is probably my favorite Franz trait, like the competitive nature that you can see that he has. And tonight, when the offense was slowing down a little bit, I feel like we got a few of those flashes that we were talking about on the last episode with Franz, where like sometimes he just needs to go and get the ball. And he did that a few times tonight, and it was really, really fun. Luke, what did you think of this game?
I mean, insane second quarter, considering the first quarter would have put a lot of young, inexperienced teams down. You lose the first quarter 34-23, and at that point I was like, oh, good night. Like, here we go, right? I mean, the Mavs are going to put it all together, and they're going to just run over this poor young team. But they didn't. I mean, the Magic are, who we know that they are, right? We know that they're resilient. They play these close games. Tonight, Jonathan, going into tonight, they were 0-5 in games that were decided by 3 or less points. So to win a game within 3 points felt great. Mavs were like 3-3, I think, in games decided by 3 or less.
How afraid of Luka Doncic were you on that last possession?
I was afraid. I was even more afraid when Kleber gets him in the air on the pump fake on that 3, and I was like, oh, it's in. It's over. This is how we lose. I thought it was over.
Audibly said, not Kleber. I swore it was going in.
Yeah,
he missed a couple of easy ones in that fourth quarter. A lot, everybody was missing.
The Mavs were missing a ton. Well, they didn't have a field goal in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Well, it felt like a 2 or 3 minute stretch there. It felt like 2016 Game 7 Cavs Warriors, where just nobody could make a shot for an eternity. But yeah, I
Magic in on an 8-2 run, so that was good.
Yeah, I was worried about Luka that last possession.
I mean, 30-point triple-double, whatever he had, 34, 12, and 11. Dude's just insane. The Magic,
good.
I was very proud of the Magic for not overthinking this. Kristaps Porzingis not playing tonight. The Magic go on in terms of scoring in the paint. They decide, KP's not here. We're just going to do exactly what we did to the Bulls. And they go on and score exactly like they did against the Bulls in the paint. 60 points in the paint, and that's going to be a huge factor for the reason the Magic win this game, because even though the Mavs shot the ball better by 10% from 3 tonight, the Magic were able to get whatever they wanted in the paint. It was just, I mean, it was the epitome of just a good team win. You had so many guys in double digits. I think you had 8 or 7. So you had Wagner, Dell, Bamba, Cole, Okeke, Mo Wagner, and Gary Harris, all in double digits tonight. T. Ross with a stinker, but everybody else, man, that was in the rotation. Suggs obviously 2 for 10, but his defense tonight was a lot of fun to see, and that steal he made in those final that final minute there was incredible.
So you pointed something out. I think it was you, or it might have been Kevin, when I was complaining about the refs. I think it was you.
It was
towards the end of the game, because I tweeted out something like the refs suck, and you said for somebody that says you can't really blame the refs. I talk crap about the refs every night, and I just really believe that a lot of them are just really bad and make terrible calls. So the Magic were up 100-92 with 8 minutes and 6 seconds left. Okay? So from that point, the refs made a few bad calls that I thought directly allowed the Mavs to put together this little run that really put this game in danger, because for a big portion of the second half, the Magic had a 6 to 10 point lead. and then all of a sudden, with about 8 minutes to go, here come the Mavs back, and now all of a sudden, the Magic were down by, I think it was like 4 with just over 5 minutes to go. But let me read this. So Mo Wagner gets a dunk off of a Chuma Okeke assist to put the Magic up 8. 8:06 to go. 7:48. Jalen blocks Dwight Powell from behind. On the replay, it's very, very apparent that it's a block. It was called a foul. The Magic didn't have a challenge at this point, so they couldn't challenge that, but Dwight Powell makes his free throws. Then we come down. Moritz Wagner misses a 3. Luka Doncic, I think this was right in Mo Wagner's face, hits a 3. So now it's a 3-point game. Then Mo Wagner gets called for an offensive charge, which I thought was a pretty weird call. And then Marquise Chris gets a dunk like a couple possessions later. And then at that point, it's a 1-point game. So it was just like back-to-back calls that really screwed the Magic at that point. And I'm just like, how are we missing calls like this when you've also got Luka Doncic like trying to cross over Chuma Okeke and Chuma is putting the clamps on him, and then like he kind of does this little head fake, gets Chuma to hesitate for a split second, but then Luka has the most obvious hook on Chuma Okeke that I've ever seen. Literally reaches his hand out, grabs around his hips and waist, and pushes himself past the sideline referee. I have no idea how you missed that call, when in that instant, it is your job to watch the ball. Mm-hmm. So it was just egregious. And you kind of mentioned the fact that there have been some G League refs that have come up because, refs getting COVID and stuff like that.
Yeah.
COVID across the league is starting to really calm down, I think, after the crazy, month and a half that we saw, the beginning of December, into the new year, up to, a couple of weeks ago. So I don't know if that's the excuse, but I am just so sick of every single night the refs have 3 or 4 calls against the Magic that are just absolutely just ridiculous, that make no sense. Even some instances where they go to the replay and they still get it wrong. So, but Luke, this was a really fun game. Good to get 2 in a row. We talked on the last episode or last week about, the whole issue with Stacey King and the Chicago Bulls broadcast and Magic Twitter going back and forth at him. So we've got them on Tuesday. So I'm half nervous, half excited for that game.
I want to beat Stacey King so bad. I don't even want to beat the Bulls. I just want to beat Stacey King.
Yep, absolutely. And
lace him up, Stacey. It's me and Jonathan against you and your partner there. That's what we'll do. Me and you 2v2 against Stacey King.
Jake Chapman tweeted something to the effect of the guy who once dunked on somebody and said let me stuff this in your mouth or something like that, was objecting to someone celebrating after a dunk. How ironic is that? So Luke, before we go ahead, we're going to get into some voicemails, and we'll also go ahead and get into some Cole Anthony talk, because I think we haven't really talked about that, and we kind of want to. But let's take a quick look at the week ahead. So Tuesday, we mentioned you're at Chicago. That game starts at 8 o'clock. You have a back-to-back, so Tuesday, and then Wednesday you'll be at Indiana. That game starts at 7 o'clock. And then with 2 back-to-backs this week, actually, Luke, you're off Thursday and Friday, but then you play Saturday and Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, you're home versus Memphis. Sunday, you're home versus Boston. Those games start at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So that's just my weekend is pretty much shot, because those games are super early. So, what do you think happens next week?
So, are we gonna go for the week, or just until we record next?
We're gonna we'll just do the week.
Do the week, okay. I'm gonna say. So we're going through the Celtics game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been so optimistic lately, Jonathan. I really think this team is not bad anymore. I'm gonna say 2-2.
Let's get it.
Yeah, I'm going 2-2. I think it's Pacers and Celtics.
Yep, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I think those are. But with knowing how the NBA usually shakes out, the Magic very well might go 2-2, and it'll be against the Bulls and the Grizzlies where they get their wins. So I don't know. It's hard to predict which teams it'll come against, but I just have a feeling like this team is revitalized by these wins they've been getting. They have their they probably know that their teammates are coming back soon too. They're just in kind of peak form right now, and we finally are getting to see that normal starting lineup that has been so good for this team. I'm going to go 2-2.
And I'll say this, you've won 3 out of your last 4, and none of those games have felt like overtly fluky. You know what I mean? Like, you beat the crap out of the Bulls, you hammer the Pistons, which
you had a good case against the Clippers for a while there, and then until the fourth quarter.
And then you kind of screw that all the way up. I want to take a quick look at something really quickly here. I'm on NBA.com. All right, so they've got 51 games, so they've got all of our games accounted for. Let's see, over the last 4 games, how are the Magic shooting from 3? Because that is what is going to tell me basically all that I need to know. Magic are shooting 36% from 3, which I feel like is probably over our average on the season, but it also doesn't feel like on the season we are shooting 32.7% from 3. Maybe these last 4 games, it does feel like we're shooting the ball a little bit better. Maybe it's
points in the paint.
Little bit of an aberration.
I think it's the points in the paint there have been really controlling this.
Well, I mean, let's look at it tonight. Tonight you shoot 32% from the 3-point line. Okay, so that's fair. I mean, it kind of looks a little bit skewed because you shoot 51% from the floor. But yeah, you absolutely went off in the paint if you are shooting 51% for the game and you shot 32% from the 3-point line. Let's go back. Let's check and see how we did against Detroit. I'm going to pull up that game really quickly here. Let's go to the box score. Yeah, Magic shot 48% from 3 in that game. Obviously, you're not going to do that every night. Let's go Wednesday's game against the Clippers. You pull that up. So Wednesday night against the Clippers, you shoot 25% from 3. I mean, you do end up losing that game, so maybe that shouldn't be a huge surprise to us, but I don't know. Look, I feel like obviously you're not going to blow out the Bulls all the time, but there is some legitimacy to the last 3 out of 4 wins that we're seeing. I don't know if it's fair to say that this team has completely turned the corner. I don't think that's the case, but they have been very confident and very consistent the last couple of weeks, even after some losses, and thinking like we're pretty close to figuring this out. Have the Magic figured it out? I'm not totally ready to say that, but we talked about the last episode that this team feels closer than they are further away.
Yeah.
And we hoped that we would get Markelle back during this homestand, and now it feels like all frickin' bets are off.
If you go 2-2 this week, you don't see Markelle for the rest of the year. Sorry.
I think at this point, because like our next game is 1st of February, you've got 2 away games, 2 home games. Then you're on the road for a 4-game road trip. You've got 1 game at home, and then it's the All-Star break. At this point, I think you see Markelle back the first game after the All-Star break, Friday, February 25th, at home versus Houston.
Bring them both back.
Maybe
give me J.I. and Markelle.
I really don't know.
I hope so.
I'm kind of like over guessing, I guess. I don't feel like doing it.
I thought you were going to say I'm kind of over it, which also me too.
I mean, honestly, fair. Like, I want them to be back, but like, I'm just tired of trying to guess and figure it out because we're on like our 8th, 9th guesses this season, and it's just like, not really a huge deal. But anyways, guys, we're going to go quickly to our voicemail box. I think we've got a question, Luke, about Dwight Howard.
From Brandon is what producer Kevin told us here. So let's hear what he says.
What's going on, Six Man Show? It's Brandon here, longtime fan of you and the Magic. First thing I want to say is my hot take. I've been hearing a lot around from Magic fans that they should bring Dwight Howard back for the voice, for the vet on our team. Here's my hot take. You're not a true Magic fan if you want to bring Dwight Howard back. He pulled a Shaq, and it ended up worse for him than Shaq. Obviously, it ended up great for Shaq. Didn't end up great for Dwight. That's awesome to hear. I like the guy. Actually, I had a close friend. He came through my neighborhood. Dwight Howard frequented my neighborhood. I mean, I like the guy. I do not like what he did to us, to the fans. So for that reason, I would not want him back. Go Magic. Love the Magic. Love y'all. Thanks for the content. Peace.
Brandon, that was a lot. That was I don't want him back. I like the guy, but I don't want him back. And then I got a story about, the neighborhood or something. That was a lot. That was a lot to process there. Jonathan, what do you think about that voicemail?
All right, so this is what I'll say. Folks, whoever is out there listening, Brandon, thank you for the call. Really, really appreciate your support. Appreciate you calling in. It's time to get over the Dwight Howard thing, guys. It's been 10 years. Worked out pretty good for us. We got Nikola Vucevic. He turned into one of the 5 best Magic players of all time. There's the wall. Debate that if you would like. And it's just been a long time. Like it's over. Tracy McGrady, he didn't leave on great terms. Penny Hardaway, he didn't leave on great terms. Those are still guys who are very beloved. I feel like if the Magic weren't run so poorly after the Dwight Howard era and we returned to success, sooner than 7 years after he left, people would feel much differently about this. People didn't like the way that he left, and then all of a sudden you're terrible for 6 years, and people are just like, oh, this is all Dwight Howard's fault, instead of looking at just the horrible job that the entire organization did from top to bottom after he was dealt. So, in my opinion, he is the greatest Magic player of all time, and at a certain point, you just have to get over things like that, in my opinion. And when it's all said and done for Dwight, he needs to be celebrated. Luke, before we get into bringing Dwight Howard back, did you have something you wanted to add?
I was just gonna say that Brandon started off that message by saying that Magic fans have been saying this. Have you been seeing this anywhere?
I have seen it once. I have not seen it, but people are on, different forums.
You might be on Reddit or something.
I'm in the Facebook. Reddit. I'm not there all the time just because we're so, we have so much engagement on Twitter that you can't always look at everything. I've seen it once, but I don't know if this is a, majority of Magic fans type of thing. Like it was oh my God, trade for Russell Westbrook, get Chris Paul. Chris Paul, retrospect, hindsight's 2020. Chris Paul wouldn't have been a bad idea. Russell Westbrook, I feel vindicated about that. But
I mean, realistically, Jonathan, if you brought Dwight Howard back, I mean, he'd be like a roll, wouldn't he?
Listen, I'm looking at the contracts, and there's no way to get it done.
Right.
Just straight up, money-wise, unless you're using the trade exception, I guess, which you're going to use that to bring back $2.6 million Dwight Howard, who's expiring. Really want Dwight Howard that badly. I'm sure you could make a case for him coming back to Orlando and maybe retiring in the next couple of years. I'm not using that trade exception. I would rather not use that trade exception than use it on $2.6 million Dwight Howard, who's going to expire in 4 or 5 months, whatever the case may be. But just looking at the contracts, Luke, these are the contracts that you could, I think, make it work. Cole Anthony, $3.4 million this year. Not a chance in hell. Michael Carter-Williams, Lakers are not doing that. Chuma Okeke, also no chance in hell. No thank you. E'Twaun Moore, who I tweeted out today, as just we've gotten no updates at all, I think, since October when we heard that he had a sprained knee, and we're always seeing him taking jump shots in practice. Very, very strange. I don't have to tell you guys what's going on with that. You know exactly what's going on with that. But E'Twaun Moore, $2.6 million. That's not going to happen. R.J. Hampton, $2.3 million. That's not going to happen. Mo Wagner, $1.7. Not going to happen. It's just not feasible. If you want to bring Dwight Howard back, which I would not totally be opposed to, you've got Robin Lopez on a $5 million one-year deal. I think I would probably want Robin Lopez back next year over Dwight Howard. But if Robin Lopez doesn't want to be here, Dwight Howard is not the worst option for a backup center, especially if you end up moving on from Mo Bamba this summer.
Yeah.
All of that to say, it is strictly for what he gives you on the floor. is still capable of going out and getting you 10 to 12 points, can still get you 10 rebounds, maybe 2 or 3 blocks in a game. I'm not bringing Dwight Howard back to be the veteran on this team. That's not happening. We've got about 4 or 5 guys under the age of 25 that are more of a veteran presence than Dwight Howard, all due respect.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add about Dwight.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Brandon, but I think we are diametrically opposed in terms of our personal feelings about Dwight Howard, and that's totally fine. I just have chosen rather than to move past that. All right, Luke, we're going to wrap up the episode here with some Cole Anthony talk. We've kind of gone a little bit longer than we had planned, but Cole Anthony, like tonight, not a incredible performance from Cole Anthony from kind of what we were accustomed to at the beginning of the season. 16 points, but on 16 shots tonight, 0 of 6 from the three-point line. And I want to say this week, really, the what's going on with Cole conversation has really started to take shape. So I wanted to go through a few of his segments of play this season because, we had the conversation, I think, last week that Cole started off the season really, really great, and then he started to get injured, and then, since he's come back, he just hasn't been as good. But I didn't really have the numbers to back that up at the time. So today I went and did a little bit of research. So over the course of the first 16 games of the season, Luke, before he sprained his ankle against the Brooklyn Nets on November 19th, Cole was averaging in 16 games, was averaging 19.6 points per game. He was shooting 40% from the floor, 36% from the three-point line, 85% from the free throw line. Okay? So, again, injures the ankle against the Brooklyn Nets, is out 6 games, comes back against Denver, kind of picks up right where he left off. So from that point, Luke, he played about 2 weeks. I think this is about 8 games here. 7 games. Re-aggravates the ankle against Atlanta December 15th. But even up to that point, sprains the ankle the first time, comes back. His averages at that time when he went out, Luke, through 23 games, he bumped it up a little bit. He went from 19.6 points, he went up to 19.9 points, almost 20 points a game at this point. Still 41.7% from the floor, 36.6% from the three-point line, and 87% from the free throw line. So then, again, re-aggravates the ankle against the Hawks, misses the next 3 games, comes back for 1 game against the New Orleans Pelicans, in which he played pretty well. 22 points, 7 of 16 from the floor, 0 of 6 from 3, but 8 of 9 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 11 assists, Luke, which I believe is tied for his high this season. But since coming back after that, so he missed 5 games from the Pelicans game on December 23rd to the game against Philadelphia at home on January the 5th. So missed 5 games, Luke. And since coming back, this was going into tonight, so not counting tonight, in 12 games since coming back the second time, Luke, 13.7 points per game, shooting 32% from the floor, 24.6% from the three-point line, 76% from the free throw line. So we felt, Luke, like he was just not as efficient, hasn't looked like the same player, and the numbers 100% back that up. What do we think about this?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on. I think his assist numbers are up, in terms of his average, since he's been pretty good in the assist column. Tonight 6 assists, 9 assists against Detroit, 11 against the Clippers. So it tells me that Cole is just trying to keep himself involved as much as he can and still be of value to this team. Getting to the free throw line.
I'm going to cut you off. I can confirm he was 5.6 assists the last 13 games, averaging 6.3. So half assist more.
Gotcha. So I think a lot of it is just obviously his efficiency. It reminds you a lot of kind of what you saw from him the beginning of the rookie year, right? His first stint basically as a rookie, where we labeled him, I labeled him a chucker. I believe you would agree with me there in terms of last year. A chucker's a guy who shoots a bunch of times, not efficiently. It'd be different if he was efficient at the time. He starts out this year like he did, and it's just kind of felt like it feels like last year sometimes in terms of what he's doing. But then he has things where you were like, wow, he still has that in his bag, and he's still confident, it seems, around the rim. He kind of like had a scoop left-handed shot here to end, I believe, the third quarter tonight, which looked beautiful. He has still like those moments where it's like, okay, Cole's still there. Like, he's in there somewhere, but I don't know what it's going to take for him to kind of get, I guess, just out of his head. I haven't seen anything change in terms of like his jumper and the form or anything like that. It just feels like he's just inefficient right now, and it is kind of the player that you fear Cole Anthony could be, eventually, is just kind of like this guy that can explode, right? He can explode for 40 points in a game, but then the next night he'll shoot 15% from the floor. I mean, you look at kind of his field goal percentages, I mean, it's ridiculous. Since really starting with like the Pistons game in early January, right? I mean, he's 27%, 23, 35, 25, 50, 23, 42, 22, 30, 45, 26, 37. There's a lot more bad than good in terms of performances from the field, as we know by the total averages there from what you pointed out. But it's got to all be mental, right?
I don't know. Like, I feel like there is a conversation to be had about the fact that, like, he had a couple of, ankle sprains, was out, and then came back, and I forget which game it was, but there was a game that he and Franz both left for a period of time due to ankle sprains.
Right.
So I feel like there's a point, like, I think there's a fair point where you can say that he just might not be healthy. But then we get into the fact that he just accepted an invitation to the dunk contest. Right. That news came out, yesterday for us, so on Saturday. So, like, can we really point to that if he's, like, not totally healthy?
Listen, the best case for Magic fans, Cole wins the slam dunk contest. His confidence is through the roof, and he just comes back from that, and he's shooting efficiently again. That's what I'm going to root for.
Yeah, I think that something's going on. He's just like going through a slump. Like, by no means is it time to, like, be super concerned about Cole or like give up on Cole. Like, he just had a bad month. Like, I don't think there's going to be anyone else on this roster happier to see the calendar turn to February than Cole Anthony, because in the month of January was just not good. Like, the 34% from the floor, 22 or 25% from the 3-point line, that's his month of January. So, it's just really been weird because, like, luckily in terms of, like, playmaking, he still looks mostly similar. I would say that teams aren't quite as zeroed in on him as they were, like, November and December. So kind of that, like, gravity that he had at that time, we're not seeing that as much. But, like, the rebounding numbers are still there. He's still playing with a lot of effort. Still a great teammate, all of those kinds of things. So it's not, I don't think it's time to be, like, super concerned about Cole, but it's like, something is not totally right because he doesn't look like the same player.
And the last thing that I'll add is I think that his confidence is definitely at a low right now, which is something that we aren't used to with Cole. Really, the only thing that I have to back that up right now is that he's shooting this year 6.9 threes a game. And in the month of January, he shot 3.7 on 33%.
Yeah, he knows he's not. And that, credit to Cole, he is not forcing it. Like, right. I still feel like there's maybe 2 or 3 times a game I'm like, Cole, really?
Right.
Like, come on. But that comes with the nature of a player like Cole Anthony. Sometimes you're like, bro, really? And you're like, oh, snap, it went in.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, bro, like, come on, we do not need that right now. But I think your point just now validates that something has changed in his thinking. He knows he doesn't have it right now and has scaled it back a little bit.
Yep.
So let's just hope that Cole gets it figured out, because the team's playing well right now, Luke, especially the last 3 out of the last 4 games, obviously. If Cole really steps up and gets back to the Cole that we saw October, November, the beginning of December, we get back to that, then all of a sudden we got a lot popping.
We desperately need a big game from Cole against the Bulls. I would do a lot of things to be able to see Cole Anthony have an efficient night, even if it's just efficient and he scores 20. If he shoots 60% from the floor, I'd be like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
So
he needs a 20-point game, 3 of 5 from 3. He needs a game like that very, very badly right now.
Or go off if you want to, Cole. That's fine too.
50.
That's fine.
Michael who?
We'll stop. Right.
Michael who? This is a house that Cole built.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys. That is going to do it for us this episode of the Six Man Show. Again, 407-603-1189. Call and leave us a voicemail. If you guys haven't left us a 5-star rating on Apple, it's literally the easiest thing in the world to do. You just pull out your phone and do that for us. We haven't gotten a review in a hot minute. And we know that we've got literally hundreds, God bless, thank the Lord, literally hundreds of listeners each week and hundreds of views on YouTube. Just take out your phone. Even if you don't have an iPhone, find somebody that does. Grab your grandma's phone, your girlfriend's phone, whoever. I don't care if we get a, I love to sew 33, any embroidery gang, whatever. Just leave us a 5-star review. Like and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, so even if you don't have an Apple, if you're listening on Spotify, you can leave a 5-star rating there as well. Really, really appreciate that. But anyways, guys, for Luke Sylvia, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You guys are listening to The Six Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya. Thanks for listening to The Six Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. Please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It would really help us out a lot. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram @Six Man Show, and like us on Facebook. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic.